Thanks. Do I have a clicker, actually? I don't have a clicker. Do I get a clicker? Okay, so yeah, I will be talking about the token revolution, or the future of tokens as I envision it once I get the clicker. Thanks. Yay. Cool. Okay, everybody talks about blockchain. And that was the talk over the last years. That has changed a lot, actually, because everybody started talking about tokens, especially in 2017. You know, that was kind of like the main talk, and that's mainly still true today. After we saw everything going up and then everything coming down. But what I really find often when I'm talking about this is that people don't really know exactly what is a token really, and what is really the difference between the two which actually exist. And there's actually two types. You could call it tokens. There's cryptocurrencies and there's tokens. And in the past, these tokens were called colored coins. So a cryptocurrency is the fluid of a blockchain. It allows you to interact with a blockchain, and it secures this ecosystem. So it's very necessary to run a blockchain, and you require a token to do so, otherwise this decentralized infrastructure would just not be possible. So it is the glue which holds this blockchain together and makes it work. So it's necessary. Taking out the token of the blockchain would basically make it impossible to work. A token, on the other hand, is in, let's say, 99% of the cases, a smart contract on Ethereum or on other blockchains, but it's like for sure 98% or whatever on Ethereum right now. And it is a smart contract that holds a list of account balances. So you simply have the addresses and the number of tokens they hold within that smart contract, which has its own address. And why did this take off so much? Because we had Mastercoin in the past, and this allowed you also to create your own coins. You could give it a number and a name. But the really big deal here is that they can interact with other smart contracts. So your token, the one you write, could interact with a wallet, could interact with an exchange or a decentralized exchange. It could interact with a voting system, or it could be part of anything else. And that's really the big deal. Smart contracts can talk to each other, and there can be a chain of many smart contracts talking to each other. And this is really the big puzzle piece which most people don't fully understand, who are not really developers. And that kind of flexibility is what makes this token ecosystem so great. And the important part of why this works so well is actually a standard. It's the ERC20 token standard, which I proposed in November 2015. And it's actually a simple agreement on a few functions. And because we agreed to those functions, we got that ecosystem you just saw before. And they created a $12 billion market. I think that's from a few weeks ago at the bottom. You know, we call it the crypto winter. So at the crypto winter, it was $12 billion in tokens. There's some, I mean, Tether, for example, is not an ERC20, but it counts like in that number, I would say. So a lot of things happened, and it got pretty big because of the flexibility and because of all the things you could do. And now everybody talks about DeFi, and security tokens is a thing, and ICOs were a thing, and IOs are the new thing, and you can like tokenize assets and bonds and blah, blah, blah. That's all awesome, and that's all in this direction of tokens, but I think that's actually not really the token revolution and the tokenized world we are going to see only. we probably see a lot more tokens which are based around community and people. When I proposed that standard, I took a draft which Vitalik initially wrote, and I put that draft on in a proper specification and proposed it in a proper place called the Ethereum Improvements Proposals. And when I did that, my thought was, okay, people will make like interesting tokens for communities or like some voting, and like they form like, they make it around their interests. They create tokens around their interests. Most projects immediately went in selling something. So that's what created the ICO world. That was not to be expected at the time, but it took big time off. But the actual token wave, which I believe we will see, is exactly the idea I had initially. And I think most of these tokens will be based around what we call fame. And fame is fashion, arts, music, and entertainment. So it's actually the tokens around communities, around interests, around brands, around clubs, around artists, around memes. The real tokenization and the real token revolution will be around those kind of tokens, because they not only allow us to create communities or connect as people and social beings, but they actually create a complete new form of money. Because not everything needs to be backed by gold. It's real money if it's backed by gold or backed by oil. And now it's backed by whatever functionality. What if it's just backed by a bunch of people wanting to have it? And sometimes that could be simply a meme. That kind of tokenized future is what we are building the LUKSO network for, and what we are seeing happening in the LUKSO fame world. And if you think, okay, that's not really going to happen, crazy tokens don't make any sense, it already did happen. And we had a $2 billion meme coin, and it's still valued at 300 million. So yes, the signal is there, and it already did happen, and it will happen. And in my opinion, the real tokenization is coming around those kind of tokens, where we don't really need to know the purpose first. But once you have 1 million people owning a certain token, let's say sneakerhead coin or whatever, then you have an audience, and then you have an interest. And then immediately companies and players and innovation will revolve around that because it's becoming interesting. That plays also well off into this Internet of Blockchains, which we are going to see, and that's why we do the LUKSO network, for example. And this is a slide I actually showed on stage more than 3 years ago. I was talking about this Internet of Blockchains, and we will have many EVM-based blockchains that will be interconnected and all of this. I probably was a bit early 3 years ago, but it's actually now going to happen. So with Polkadot and with Cosmos Network, all of which are just layers to connect networks. And with bridges between the networks, we will see a magnitude of blockchains around communities, around interests, or around just purposes. So that's all I have today to say, and I would like to see the real tokenization future happening, and I think it's actually happening very soon. Thank you.